On the previous video, we explained what exactly we are looking from scanning. So scanning, it's a phase where we are gathering information, except it's more specified information. So scanning, it's getting some active information, like getting the ports, and I'm going to start by explaining the port, and getting the operating system, and getting service that opens the port, and getting application. And actually this is very important in our work, because according to that I'm going to find weakness in that, and then I'm going to try to compromise the system. So for instance, if I know that my victim have Windows XP or Windows Server 2003, I'll be going through some of the website like securityfocus.com or Security Tracker or some other website, ExploitDB and so on, and start searching what vulnerability do we have on such system and how to exploit them, how to compromise them. And we're gonna do that ourselves in the section related to vulnerability and exploit. So according to the information that we're gonna collect on this video, this will be used to check the weakness and compromise the system. So in this case, I will not depend on the victim error. I don't have to send him an email with a link and pray that he's going to click on this link so he will let me compromise the system. No. Well, however he is careful, he will be, even if this victim is very, very careful, he's not opening any strange email, he's not clicking on the link, I will still compromise the system because I depended on a weakness inside the system. Now, when we explain what exactly we are looking for scan, we mentioned that we are looking for system live or not. Live here means they are connected to the network. It doesn't mean that they are on. They could be on but not connected to the network. So I need to know if the machine is connected to the network or not. I need to know what port the machine has open. And as I mentioned, in a few minutes I'm going to explain what do we mean by port. So port are logical communication channel. We're going to explain in more depth. We need to know what service are open this port. So if we have port, for instance, 21 open, what is the service that opens this port? And is this a vulnerable server or not? We need to know what operating system. And as I told you, this is a very important piece of information. If I know that the victim is running a specific operating system, this will be very helpful for me. I can start looking for weakness inside this operating system. And a lot of sites will give you tons of weakness and vulnerability in any operating systems that you just mentioned. We need to know things like what service do they have running and what application. Maybe if you have a specific version of Acrobat Reader that was vulnerable, I can compromise the system and so on. But scanning has different techniques. We're going to explain the technique later on, but on this video I just want to introduce to you a very, very powerful tool for scanning. So I can use tools like, let me show it to you. We have a tools here, for instance, it's called SuperScan. So this is a graphical nice tool, free, you can download them. That do many things. It do bank sweeping, so it can scan a range of IP, like in my case I'm asking him to scan from 192.168.95.1 to 912.168.95.255 or 254, and all ports. I'm going to click on scan and it will show me all the from this range, because not necessarily all the machine on this network has we have all those machines on this network, so you can show me only the machines that is connected to the network. And if I click on this plus sign, it will show me on each machine the port open and the service and so on. So it's quite easy to use, except it's detectable. And on the next video we're going to explain the type of scanning. You're going to know why exactly this kind of scanning can be easily detected from the victim side. If you got a firewall or an IPS and you run something like that, because this actually runs something called full open scan. And this will be explained in next video. And full open scan can be detected easily. But the best way for scanning a system, and actually they call that the king of scan, it's a tool called Nmap. Nmap is the best tool to use for scanning. Nmap is built in Linux, except you can download the Windows one. If you need to download the Windows one and use it, you can go to this website, nmap.org, and you'll be able to download the Nmap version, Windows version. But I recommend that you start working on the Linux version because it's very, very easy, and they even have a graphical tools. They have a command line and graphical tool. So how to use Nmap? Nmap first can be used in different ways, so it cannot be detected from the victim side. So the regular way for using Nmap, you just type the Nmap and you put the IP of the victim. So Nmap minus small s, let's write it the regular Nmap 192.168.95.137. And if you ping, it will not take time. It will give you the open port, as you can see. It will give you the service running on this port. It will give you the MAC address of this machine. So for instance, if I'm hacking a wireless, so I need to fake the MAC address of a specific device that only wireless access point accepted, I can know the victim MAC address, and then I can change mine because it can be faked actually from Linux, and then I can try to connect to the wireless. And then I can know if it's a physical machine or a virtual machine, as you can see here. You can use Nmap in a different way. So Nmap minus help will show you all the switch, and you can see it's a big amount of switch. But I'm going to attach with this lesson description, with the extra material, a Nmap cheat sheet that include all the major commands that you need to know to do a successful scanning and get a lot of information. So don't worry about memorizing. I'll guide you through that. So let's clear the screen and let's use one of the Nmap powerful tools. So I can type Nmap minus small s capital S, which is minus SYN scanning, and SYN, it's a half open scan, and we're going to explain that as we mentioned on the next video. And then we can put the IP 192.168.195.137, and I can even add minus capital O, and minus capital O gets you the operating system, and this is very important. So we'll get the same result, except we're going to get also some interesting port here, and you're going to know why it's interesting later on. We're going to see the operating systems that you can find, and as we mentioned before, if you know the operating system, this will be very, very helpful to find a weakness and to be able to use this weakness to compromise the system. Yes, he may give you some option. He will tell you it could be Windows Server 2003 or it could be Windows XP Service Pack 2. So now you know that at least it's not Windows 7 or 8 or Vista, and it's not Windows Server 2008. So you know where exactly which area you're going to be looking for. And on the previous video, I showed you some of the websites that may help. But later on, especially on the vulnerability and exploit section, I'm going to relate things together. And this will be very, very easy, much easier than you can imagine. So this is one way for using the Nmap and the kind of information that you maybe get. You can use Nmap in another good feature in Nmap, that you can hide your identity. So if I type Nmap, let's do it this way. Let me clear the screen first. Clear. And type Nmap minus small s capital S, and then the IP of my victim 192.168.95.137. Now the point is, if this guy has some kind of protection, he will be captured that someone is scanning their system, and he will capture your IP, so he will know exactly who is scanning the system. Now one of the things that you can do in Nmap, you can hide your IP, you can fake your IP. I can do that by typing minus capital D, and then we put the IP, any IP you want, 192.168.95.200. I don't have a machine with this IP, but when it will start scanning and the victim start capturing that someone is scanning the system, unless in case he get any like honeypots or firewall or something like that, he will capture that whoever scan, this is his IP, which is a fake IP. So you are hiding your identity. It will affect the performance. I mean, it will be kind of slow when you are scanning, except this is one of the features that we can use in Nmap. Another way for using Nmap, it's to using script. Nmap has something called NSE, Nmap scripting. I don't recall E stand for what, but it has some built-in script. I believe more than 100 script that can scan for a specific objective. So for instance, if I need to scan if my system or my victim can be crashed using a denial of service, I can type nmap -- script equal and the name of the script. So I'm going to choose this default script. This is a regular script first, just to prove the concept, and type the IP of my victim, 95.137, and it will scan a default script. There is another script called the DOS, denial of service. So I can change that to, instead of default, I can write down TOS. So it will scan for a specific vulnerability. I can do a vulnerability scan. It has a huge amount of scripts that you can use. And what you can do is that you can type -help space discovery and then it will show you all the scripts that he have. So sorry, -- script -help discovery. So as you can see, a lot of scripts are there, and I will also add a document that include all scripts together. So or the major one, because I cannot include all the scripts, but the major ones that you can use. So the point is, Nmap, besides regular scanning, it can scan for a specific objective. Now what if you have a problem memorizing those switch -T, -D, -S, those kind of switches, and you also don't know which one is the best to be used? There is a graphical tool that I believe is very effective, and you can replace the command line by graphical tool. It's called Nmap. So if you use Nmap, and you're gonna see it's very effective. Number one, it will give you the best Nmap command to be used, and then you can scan for one machine like this one, or you can scan for a specific network. So if you scan one machine, to give you all the information, but you can also scan for the whole network. So I can tell him, okay, could you scan all the machine please for me? So starting from 192.168.0 from 1 to 254 and type 24, and it may take a little bit of time, but I'm going to show you the result. So I can ask him to scan the full network, and let's see what we'll be getting here. So the machine that he cannot find will be down, while the machines that he can find, it will be up, and later on you're going to see a list of the machine here. Now why should I do that? Why should I scan the full network? This is a very important point, and we're going to take a real-life scenario by the end of this course. The point is, when you are scanning a victim, when you are scanning a network, what you are looking for just one machine that you can compromise. I'm not looking to start to compromise a server or a very important machine. I just need to look for one weak machine. If I'm able to compromise one weak machine, I can from this machine hack to all the secured machine. And we're going to take a technique that can be used by the end of this course. So my objective is not just to verify what is the most important machine and try to compromise them, because usually they are very powerful and they are very secured. I'm going to look for any machine. Maybe one of the users has an antivirus turned off, or he's using a Windows XP, or his machine is vulnerable. From this user, this will be my objective, and I'm going to hack to this one, and then I can hack to any other computer or server on his network, even if they are secure. And as I mentioned, we're going to take a real life scenario by the end of this course and showing you how this can be done. So it may take a little while, but I can keep it running. It will give you the host, it will give you the service, it will give you a lot of information, but I want to show you how effective this is, and I want to show you what we will be getting. So just give it a minute or something. What I'm expecting to see, I'm going to expect to see all the hosts showing here, all the computers that has been detected. Here you go. Now those are the, so still this is one machine, he's scanning the other machine. So we need to wait until he can see all the machines that has been detected from this network. It will show here. So this will take a time, but you'll be able to see all the ports, you'll be able to see the topology, how they are connected. So you have two machines and they will show in like how they are connected, okay, and they will show which one is more vulnerable than others. The one in red is more vulnerable than others, so you will get a lot of results. So it's a very, very handy tools, and I want you to start get familiar with. And the information that we grab so far, this will be used in a very good way later on, but this is very, very important. And I just want to remind you that you should not scan anyone. I know that this is not compromising, but in some countries they consider scan illegal, so you should never scan a real target unless you have an approval. This is very important, and this is what all the course is all about. It's to get the proper approval to do that, or to create your own lab, and then you can tune the security, the amount of security, so the way you want it, and you can scan according to that. Now, the last point that I need to explain in this part is the port. I mentioned that ports are logical communication channel, and each system has around 65,500 and something port. And I cannot open the computer and show you with port 80 or where is port 21 or 25. What happens is when you open your browser and you type www.google.com, it will send the request to Google, so port number 80. You can consider that like a way or a road number 80, because this port know how to use a protocol called HTTP, and this is the protocol related to browsing. You know how to request page, how to open the page in browser, how to work with the web pages and web server. But if I download something, it will use port 21, because this port are used by a protocol called FTP that know how to download something. If you are sending an email from your Outlook client from your machine, this mail is sent through port 25, because 25 are using protocol called SMTP. If you are receiving, it's received from port 110 that use POP3 and so on. So different ports using different servers. It's exactly like the phones that you may have at your office. You may have a phone that you have a specific extension that allow you to contact the HR, and another extension that allow you to contact finance, and certain extensions that allow you to connect the CEO. So you don't have one extension that allow you to connect to everyone. Different extension will allow you to different people. Same idea. Now those ports, as we agreed, they have around 65,500 and something. Okay, they are divided to two different categories. We have the port that is less than 1024, and this was usually call them the well-known port. And how to verify them, how to check them, by typing netstate -an. Netstate -an will show you locally on your machine the ports that you have open on your machine. So as you can see, I have a huge amount of port, and I will not be worrying very much about 443. But actually I should be, because later on you can see even the well-known port can be compromised. But port like like this one or like that one, the ones that is more than 1024, I should be worried about them. So also notice that this port is open on my machine, but it's listening, and no one is connected to it right now. While I have a port here that is, or couple of ports that is not just listening, but they are also established. So we have someone connected to this port, as you can see. So you can see that, and this is a foreign IP, so this is who is connected to us through this port. Okay. There is a way that you can verify that without an extra tool, using Nmap minus ANO. Sorry, Nmap minus ANO. And Nmap will give you, besides the local and foreign address and your local port and foreign port, it will give you a field called the process ID. And you can verify according to this process ID which program are using that. So for instance, assuming that I have a port like, let's take this one, 644 or 604, and I need to know what exactly are used to open this port. I can Alt and Control and delete, and I can open my task manager, and I can check the process ID from here. So let's see, it was, what was the port number? 604. So 604. Let me just try to increase the size. Increase the size. Any other port, 6 or 370, any port, you can check. Let's see, 604. 604. The point is, even if you have a process, you can change the number. So this may be a hacked machine or something. I'll get something 37. We'll take something like 296. 296. Okay. So you'll be able to should be up 96. So this is an application. So at least I know that what is the name of the application. I can verify later on this application or this exe file is related to it. Except, you know, this is a way for tracing what exactly are using this port. But later on, we're going to see that you're going to learn some advanced skills that when you hack to someone, because when you hack to someone, you are sending him an executable or a payload that is executed on his system, so it can be verified from here. So if someone checking that, he can be verified, it can be detected. But we're going to learn that we can do something called migration, that I can associate this malicious process of mine with one of the system process, so it will be undetectable. So this is everything that I wanted to explain related to Nmap. On the next video, I'm going to explain different kind of scanning, and we're going to take some advanced tools. And before we leave, as you can see, getting back to Nmap, he get me all the machine, and you can see he show me the topology, how they are connected together. They are connected through a switch, and they give you the vulnerable, the weak, the powerful, and with all the amounts that you may need, what service are running, what port are they have. You just choose the host, you get all the machine. So it's a very, very powerful tool. So thank you for watching, and see you next video.